So, first of all, let me thank you for allowing me to be back home once again. I'm a sub-product of this university, so I thank you very much. Well, we make highways and we have one certainty, so we are lucky for this, that our traffic can only increase. So just to give you an idea, forecasts say that within 2016, which is the day after tomorrow, traffic will be 1.3 zettabyte. A zettabyte is 1 trillion gigabytes. So the world traffic will be more than 1 trillion gigabytes, and this is a number. Within 2016, objects connected to the internet will be almost 19 billion objects. So 2.5 per each person. Within 2017, mobile traffic, broadband traffic, will grow 17 times. So it's a quite fascinating growing exercise. So if there is so much growth, so investment should come as the rain, and why the rain is not here, why we're not swimming in investments. Well, technology is quite tricky in our field. So if I think what will be the technological infrastructure in the next 5 years, it will be based on optics. So it will be optical technologies. Within 10 years, very likely to be optical technologies as well, because from day one, a new technology shows up in a laboratory, and then you have the alpha project, then you have the beta project, then you have finally the first product, and then at the end of a period that lasts 5 to 7 years, you have something that is commercial. So it's very likely that within 10 years we will have the same technology we have today, at least the hard part of it. But what about the next 20 years? Very honestly, I'm working in telecommunication in the last 25 years, and the only answer I can give you is I don't know. I have no idea. So technology is a factor, and our investment period have to take into consideration that our horizon is 10 years. Maybe, okay, if you're very brave, 12 years, 15 years, okay, good. So I take the point, but it's very hard to think like a physical highway. Our digital highway has a technological life cycle which is much shorter. Then you have to move to your market, so Italy. In my case, sovereign risk is very difficult to show, but my brand is Telecom Italia, and so it's the fact that I'm working in Italy is pretty evident. And what is clear in Italy, that we are number one in the penetration of the mobile internet, but we are not number one in penetration of fixed internet, so the XDSL. Now, just to give you an idea, we decided together in a private/public project made with Lombardia region in order to cover the whole digital divide. So 100% coverage, anti-digital divide. Well, when you arrive in a place that was not having ADSL or XDSL before, 1 year later, the adoption rate has been 10%. So people was not dying for having internet, or what's the problem? The problem is that we have an infrastructural digital divide that counts for 3, 4, depends how do you want to count it, 3, 4, 5%. And we have a cultural digital divide that counts for 35, 40% of the population. So our problem is more a cultural digital divide than an infrastructural digital divide. Now, there is another mistake. We tended to consider our customer as physical engineers or engineers. So we discuss about fiber. It has to be fiber to the home or fiber to the curb, or it has to be ultra broadband. How big is the broadband? Customer buy services. They don't buy fiber, they buy services. So what's the need that people have? Well, it's very much different if we're talking about a family, a small office, or a professional, or a corporate, or a large corporation. Very different. It's very different if we're talking about a rural area, or an urban area, or an industrial district. So we have to be very much coherent and very much pragmatic. So the bandwidth have to be broader, wider, but big enough, not ultra. It has to be big, right-sized. Now, what are the drivers for infrastructural investments in telecommunications? So, is it true that I'm saying that it is impossible to think about telecommunication infrastructure as a normal infrastructure? The answer is no. Of course, we can think about our infrastructure as a normal infrastructure. Well, if I give a look to the rest of the world, there are at least 3 different approaches. One is the tigers of Far East. So it is considered a strategic political project, so the state pays for it. Korea, Japan, so on and so forth. So it doesn't matter if I have the demand or not, the state comes and pays. It's not what Europe decided to adopt. So we don't take this model. Let's move on the other extreme, US. US decided that the market will be driven by services, and services means the over-the-tops. So it has been allowed to have a very fast growth of the over-the-tops, the Googles, the Facebooks, and so on and so forth. Is it a matter of people in Silicon Valley is more creative than people in Italy, in Etna Valley? No, they have different rules for privacy. They have different rules for, there are several rules that are completely different. And we are playing a different game. We're playing a game in which privacy is considered in another way. So over-the-tops in Italy or in Europe have to face more difference and more problems. So we said, okay, the demand will come from the end user, and here we have a problem. So if in Italy we say that the end user have a cultural digital divide problem, and services like over-the-tops are not, don't find a good environment, so what we can do? At the same time, Europe says, you have to do the digital agenda. So within 2020, 100% of the citizen, believe me that 100% is a number that in the universe does not exist. So, but 100% of the citizens have to be reached by a certain speed that is ultra broadband, so 30 mega or 100 mega. So we need to do something. We need to do something, and I think there are drivers that have to be carefully analyzed. First is the regulatory issue. We heard in the intervention of Mr. Binismaghi that an investor, a financial investor, wants an IRR. It doesn't matter if we're talking about 6%, 7%, 10%, 11%, it doesn't matter. People want an IRR. We are a private investor. We want an IRR as well. So if we are able to find a regulatory environment, and it is possible, that give me for an horizon that is realistically feasible with the lifetime of my technology, if I have a lifetime of my technology which is 10 years, if I have an IRR for the next 10 years, it will help the investment, and investment will stimulate probably the demand, and the demand will come from the end users. Second, is it impossible to defend competition if we do something like this? Of course, no. It's mostly important that we create a system that have, Professor said before, we need to share risks. So the financial investor wants an IRR, the public authority wants competition, and the technological and the operator wants to run his business. So there is the IRR that have to be ensured, and there is the competition that have to be ensured. Is it something feasible? Yes, of course. Once again, it's a matter of rules. We need to have clear rules that gives to financial investor a certain profile, to competition a certain profile. And then bureaucracy. So let me use 1.5 minutes to talk about bureaucracy. So if you have to choose a place, if you are having your vacation at the beach, you like one more than the other if you have the mobile signal. So I like to be connected, good. But unfortunately, I need to put an antenna. So it's not telepathy. It's an antenna. Is it nice? No, it's an antenna. It's not nice. So there is good panorama. I like the panorama. Yes, you can like the panorama or calling. So please pick one of the two. Today takes 15 months to take the decision if I have all the authorizations. Then we say, okay, but I give you a maximum emission limit because it could be dangerous. In the last 15 years, it has not been seen a single case of cancer, but we don't know because it's only 15 years. Good. So the limit we fix is 6-volt meter. Okay, good. Is it high or low? Well, just to give you an idea, Europe, that's Italy. Europe says that the average limit is 20, so we are 3 times lower. Today the average is 50, so we are 9 times lower. But just to give you another example, if you use your microwave in the kitchen and you stay in front of the microwave waiting for the milk,
you risk more.
It's much more dangerous than hugging an antenna. So you hug an antenna, no? It's much more risky if you stay in front of your microwave waiting for the hot milk. Last. So, but rules make the difference once again. And bureaucracy can make the difference once again. Last. There is a technological space that is access, so fiber whatsoever, and a new paradigm includes the cloud. So cloud is something that sounds very strange. It's just separating computing and storage from the physical place in which you're working. It's very easy. Now, in a place in which there are small, medium enterprise, do you see an Italian small, medium enterprise that files all the documents in order to access to the European Investment Bank financing? I don't see it. They have no clue of the idea, so they don't know how to do it. What we need is fiscal help in order to allow small, medium enterprise to invest in new technology. So we need to use the fiscal. It's not a ton of money. It's fairly little money, but it increases dramatically the productivity of small, medium enterprises. And productivity is, I don't know if Article 18 will be what makes the change in our competitiveness, but for sure, increasing productivity makes the difference. Thank you.